Have you ever heard someone say, "But I love him and that should be enough"? Well, bad idea. And it's not just bad, it's dangerous. Love is not enough. It never was. But we grow up hearing that love conquers everything, that love heals, that love transforms. The result? Broken people trying to fix relationships with feelings. People insisting where there's only pain, thinking that feeling a lot is the same as being happy, and it isn't. In the first 30 seconds of a toxic relationship, you might feel butterflies in your stomach. The next minute, you're already accepting crumbs and calling it a feast. And the worst part? You still blame yourself because you were taught that if something goes wrong, it's because you're not loving enough, that you have to insist, that it's normal to suffer for love. No, it's not. Love is not synonymous with emotional dependence. Love does not hold together a relationship where only one person makes an effort. Love does not erase disrespect, disappearance, coldness, emotional betrayal, or lies disguised as forgetfulness. And there is no point in romanticizing suffering. That is not romance. It is an illusion. It is like trying to put out a fire with perfume, beautiful in theory, disastrous in practice. Have you ever tried to save someone who didn't even want to be saved? Have you ever held on tight to someone who had been letting go of your hand for a long time? And you called it love. You thought it was beautiful. You thought it was noble, but that's blind surrender. It's you throwing away your self-love and thinking you're proving your fidelity. Why? Because they said love endures all things? Lie. And maybe right now, you're exactly there, feeling too much for someone who gives you too little, believing that if you keep loving, things will get better. Spoiler, they won't. One-sided love only serves to exhaust you, to leave you exhausted, insecure, and trapped in a story where you nullify yourself to try to keep someone who doesn't even want to be with you. Let's be honest. If love were enough, no one would break up. If love were enough, there wouldn't be so many people suffering in silence, pretending that everything is fine. The truth is that love, without reciprocity, without presence, without respect, is just a pretty word lost in an emotional battlefield. So answer me, is it worth it to keep saying I love you when the other person only offers you absence? Is it worth insisting on someone who only shows up when it's convenient? Or is it time to face the fact that love doesn't sustain what has been falling apart for a long time? Stay with me until the end because we need to talk about this with truth, with anger, and with that push that you might need right now. Let's make one thing clear. You can love someone and still need to leave. Love is not synonymous with putting up with everything in silence. It is not a justification for accepting crumbs, coldness, silence, or lame excuses. But many people think that love is like a free pass to stay in a failed relationship, as if love were a medicine, but really, some love turns into poison. Wanna see? How many times have you held back your tears, slept badly, lost your appetite, or waited for a message that never arrived, and justified it by saying, it's because I love you? How many times have you felt like an idiot, but stayed there, believing that just a little more patience would change everything? And did it change? Or did it only get worse as you diminished yourself more and more? That's the thing, love alone doesn't educate anyone. It doesn't make the other person change. It doesn't transform an absent partner into a present companion. Those who want to, show it. Those who truly love, care, protect, don't make you doubt your own worth all the time. But when you're the only one who loves, the only one who fights, it becomes emotional slavery. You become a prisoner of a hope that only exists in your head. And look, it's not an exaggeration. How many stories have you heard or experienced of people who gave themselves completely and, in the end, were left empty? People who exchanged sleep for fights, affection for demands, respect for jealousy, promises for absence. All of this in the name of what? Love. A love that, in practice, only served to justify neglect. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever thought that if you loved more strongly, more beautifully, more intensely, the person would see your value? Comment below if you have ever given up on someone who didn't even notice your presence. And if you are still going through this, tell us too. This space here is for you to recognize yourself, not to hide. There are things that are choices, and there are things that are self-deception. And staying where you suffer, hoping that love will change the other person, what is that? It is deceiving yourself. It is placing your happiness on the account of someone who does not even consider you a priority. There is no point in being an ocean to someone who only gives you a dry glass. That is not romance. It is disrespect towards you. And do you want to know the cruelest thing? There are people who know that you love them, and they take advantage of that. They use your feelings as currency, as an advantage. They know that you will forgive, will continue, will insist, because you love them. And every time you stay, this person understands that they can make a mistake again, because love, in their view, has become permission. So I ask you, how long will you call something that only weakens you love? How long will you insist on a story where only you write the pages? Do you really think this will have a happy ending? Isn't it time to rethink what you call love? There comes a time when the penny drops. And it doesn't drop lightly, no, it plummets. It comes in the silence of a night spent crying alone, in the emptiness after yet another disappointment, in the tiredness of repeating the same conversation 1,000 times with someone who pretends not to understand. Then you realize, loving someone never guarantees that they will love you back in the same way. And then comes the pain, but so does lucidity, because there comes a moment when self-love starts to scream louder than neediness. You start to look at what you used to call love with different eyes, and realize that what existed there was attachment, fear of being alone, hope stubbornly planted in dry soil. And do you know what happens when you finally take a stand? The world doesn't end. You don't die of longing. You don't fall apart, at least not forever. You grow, you come back to yourself. You learn to love yourself with the same intensity you loved those who hurt you. And that, my friend, that changes everything. Because when you understand that true love begins with you, no one can convince you to accept anything less. You stop chasing after those who run away from you. You stop thinking you need to prove your worth to someone you've never seen. And you start walking with more lightness, more firmness, more dignity. You find yourself again. It is at this moment that love finally becomes healing, but not the love you gave to someone else. The love you finally decided to give to yourself. The love that protects you, that welcomes you, that makes you say enough without guilt, that teaches you to set limits, that shows you that love is not synonymous with suffering, it is peace. And make no mistake, when you put yourself first, many people will say that you have changed, and you will proudly respond, yes, I have changed. I am tired of loving myself last. That is not selfishness. That is emotional survival. That is maturity. That is emotional intelligence. So if you've come this far and felt this video speak directly to you, maybe today is the day to turn the page, to stop justifying the unjustifiable, to stop expecting the impossible, to finally understand that love by itself holds nothing back, but self-love ... that's what keeps you standing. And if this video made sense to you, if it gave you that reality check you didn't even know you needed, subscribe to our channel. We do speak the truth, yes, but we speak from the heart. Because there are times when what you need most is someone to tell you you deserve more, and you never have to accept less again. The pain will pass, but self-love remains, and it saves you.